Welcome to the Dance Reel podcast. I'm Kate Histon. To be part of our community, subscribe or follow this channel. This episode was sponsored by Master Dancer Mindset. Know yourself, be yourself, and express yourself on and off the stage. Have you ever wondered why some dancers thrive in high-pressure environments, while others shut down, burn out, or walk away from dance altogether? On the surface, it can look like resilience versus weakness. But often what we're really seeing is the impact of trauma. Many of today's teaching practices were shaped in a time where either trauma was misunderstood or ignored altogether. Students were expected to toughen up, to push through, to leave their emotions at the door. But we now know this approach does not build resilience. It builds suppression, and suppression always has a cost. In recent years, the words trauma have made its way into many conversations. It's on social media, in workplaces, even in schools. Sometimes the word is used with depth and knowledge. Other times it's overused to the point of becoming cliche and meaningless. So what does it actually mean to teach from a trauma-aware lens? And why should it matter in the dance studio? Let's firstly have a look at what trauma-aware means. To be trauma-aware is to recognise that many people carry unresolved experiences that affect how they learn, relate, and regulate. It means that acknowledging behaviours are often shaped by the nervous system's responses to stress or threat, whether real or perceived. Trauma is not just the big events that we might think of, but also small and repeated experiences of shame, neglect, and disconnection that accumulate over time. When we speak about trauma awareness in teaching dance and also in parenting, we're not talking about therapy. We're talking about creating learning environments and safe spaces that respect the body and the nervous system, where challenge and rigour can coexist with safety and humanity. Why does this matter in the dance studio? Dance training is demanding, especially at a pre-professional level. High pressure is part of it, the repetition, the striving, the discipline, but there is a line between healthy pressure and unhealthy environments. Trauma-aware teaching helps us hold that line. For example, a trauma-aware teacher uses discipline without humiliation, corrections that guide rather than degrade. Authority is exercised with responsibility, not domination. An example from my own training. When I was training full-time, I went to see a sports psychologist. They gave me some mindset tools, but I walked away feeling no better. I often say you can't cover up something rotten with ice cream. For me, the damage had already been done. From 10 years spent in an unhealthy training environment, no quick tool could fix that. It wasn't about me reframing how I thought about it. It eventually took a breakdown to push me into my healing journey, both educational and personal. That experience taught me that unless the environment is safe, tools on their own don't create change. They risk gaslighting a student into thinking they are weak and that they are the problem, which is even more insidious and damaging. So what does it actually look like when a teacher is trauma aware? It looks like correction given with dignity. For example, you might say to the student, "Notice how your ribs lift when you breathe? Try grounding through your feet as you repeat that phrase." The feedback is specific, actionable, and delivered without shame. It looks like recognizing when a student's nervous system is overwhelmed. A teacher might notice a blank stare or a sudden freeze, then quietly adjust the pace, offering space for a pause, a stretch, or a breath, so the student can return to learning without spiraling into a shutdown. It looks like providing choice. Perhaps students are given 2 ways to attempt a sequence, one more complex, one more foundational. By allowing them to decide which entry point fits, the teacher affirms agency without lowering expectations. It looks like boundaries that are firm yet respectful, clear structures such as starting class on time, rotating turns fairly, or explaining why rules exist. Give students safety through consistency. Boundaries, communicated calmly and transparently, prevent confusion and mistrust. And importantly, it looks like celebrating risk-taking. A trauma-aware teacher acknowledges the courage it takes to attempt something difficult, not only the outcome. They might say, "I see how much focus you brought into that turn. Let's build on that," which validates effort while encouraging refinement. When these elements come together, students often describe feeling both stretched and supported. They are willing to take risks, to explore and to make mistakes in the knowledge that they are respected. That atmosphere cultivates artistry, resilience, and genuine confidence, qualities that extend far beyond the studio. For students, trauma-aware teaching feels very different. They describe feeling seen rather than judged, guided rather than controlled. They take risks without fear of ridicule. They notice their strengths are acknowledged and their struggles are met with curiosity, not criticism. Over time, this builds self-trust. Instead of learning to obey, students learn to listen to themselves, to regulate and to grow with confidence. That is what makes the learning sustainable and the artistry authentic. Equally as important is that teachers and dance parents look at their own histories. We all carry experiences from our families, our schooling or our training. Many dance teachers entered the profession because dance was a lifeline, but for others it was also a place of hurt. Without reflection, unhealed patterns can unconsciously repeat in the dance studio. This is not about judging ourselves. It's about approaching our own story with compassion and curiosity. Trauma-aware teaching begins with self-awareness, recognizing where our wounds influence and how we lead, and choosing to grow beyond them. We do not transcend these wounds by bypassing or sweeping them aside. We do it by facing them, learning from them, and developing the capacity to choose new ways of relating. When trauma awareness is absent, teachers may rely on old methods of shame, intimidation, or emotional manipulation, especially under stress. Students may appear obedient in the short run, but carry long-term wounds, mistrust, injury, or a distorted sense of self-worth. Mindset tools or discipline can even become forms of gaslighting when they push students to override their own inner signals. When teachers integrate trauma awareness, students thrive and they develop resilience that is not based on suppression, but rather on genuine regulation and self-respect. At the same time, teachers experience more authenticity in their leadership. They are no longer bound to repeating the culture they came from. They become the culture shapers in their own right, and it is never too late. To teach dance from a trauma-aware lens is to not lower standards, it's to raise standards of humanity in the way we train. It requires courage to reflect on our own stories and humanity, to teach in ways that respect the nervous system as much as the technique. In doing so, we create spaces where discipline and artistry are not diminished but expanded. That is the essence of trauma-aware teaching. When trauma-aware practices become the norm, we protect more than the individual student. We raise the standard of the art form itself. Dancers who are trained in this way become adults who carry both technical skill and self-respect. They bring those qualities back into the studios, companies, and classrooms they lead later. In this way, trauma-aware teaching does not only transform the present moment in class, it shapes a healthier, more sustainable future for dance culture as a whole. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend, like and comment, and remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you're aware of when new episodes are released. If you would like more insights on leadership for dance educators and mindset coaching for dancers, please sign up to my newsletter at katehiston.com. And in the meantime, keep it real.